course, I'm not saying you'll all be capable of going the distance, Troy said over his G&T. Putting an album like this together requires a lot of effort and discipline. Normally, it would take years, but we've only got months, which means it's going to be intense. Like, really intense.
Rob sniffed. He'd been the least willing to attend this so-called reunion, and was so far proving the hardest to sell the new project too.
No one here's actually broke, Troy. What makes you think we want to go the distance?
Troy smiled and leaned back against the coach window. Blossoming hedgerows sped by outside.
Never knew you to turn down a challenge, Rob?
Who's talking about me? Rob nodded across the aisle to where Luke was slumped in a fetal bundle, snoring loudly. Troy smiled again.
Let Luke be for the moment. It's not as if we're going to need any lyrics about orcs and ring wraiths, is it?
Amen to that, Charlie said, going back to his copy of the Times. At least some things about the industry have grown up. We gazed through the windows at the passing countryside. The South Downs are very scenic in late spring, a rolling succession of long green uplands interspersed with dry combes and lush low valleys where myriad freshly bloomed flowers sparkle in the cottage gardens. I hadn't been in this part of the country for 5 years at least, but then I hadn't been with the rest of the guys, not all at the same time, for several years longer than that. In fact, the truth is that I couldn't remember the last time we'd had a full get-together like this. OK, Wolfbane, the band, our band, had never officially broken up. We were inert, I suppose would be one way to describe us. Part of that ageing bunch of formerly mega-sized hard rock outfits, now perceived as dinosaurs, who had gradually drifted to the wings as musical taste changed, and then, when they thought nobody was looking, made a quick, relieved exit. Most of us, to be honest, preferred it that way. Better to gradually ease your way out of the public consciousness than to visibly crash and burn, the way so many others had. Not that this latest meet-up was anything to do with producing a hard rock album, though Troy was hoping that we'd be able to draw on the influence of one, namely Eagle Road, an LP we'd released way back in 1975, which had instantly gone stratospheric, though oddly, possibly because it was so non-rock in many of its lengthy compositions, which had just as quickly vanished from the charts, and now was remembered by no one. With the single exception, apparently, of Mike Broderick, executive music producer for Century Films.
"What I don't get, Troy," Joe said from the bar, where he was inexpertly mixing himself a cocktail, "is why, if this movie is about Julius Caesar, it's got anything to do with a stately home in Hampshire."
"Ah," Troy winked.
"You will."
Joe sipped at his drink before pulling a disgusted face and shoving it to one side. Our budget didn't seemingly stretch to having our own on-board barkeep, though, as it was, we were riding a 40-seat, fully air-conditioned long-haul cruiser, complete with bar facilities, so long as you were prepared to pour your own, reclining seats and VCR. We were currently speeding through the leafy byways of southern England, having agreed, with no small reluctance, the whole thing was testimony to Troy's powers of persuasion, to spend a whole week at a 17th-century pad called Rillington Chase, and to mull over a potential new project that our manager was dead keen for us to work on.